Hello there. Today I'm going to be talking about the top lessons that I've learned in 2025. I don't know why I'm nervous. I need a mic, 1 sec. Hello. Cause it's giving real New York, New Year's Eve, ball drop. Top lessons of 2025. First one that comes to mind is that words don't cost anything. People could tell you that they care about you, they want the best for you, they're looking out for you, that they even love you, and that shit doesn't cost a dime, not a dollar, not a cent. And I had a lot of people, I think this year, kind of bamboozle me into thinking that the words that they were saying were things that they actually meant, and those were things that they kind of like half meant, but didn't really mean to like do the things that come along with what you would do if you meant those things. Maybe they just weren't as true as they thought that they were. I had a good heart. I was quick to believe people's words before seeing the action, before seeing the follow through. I was quick to forgive instead of, trying to see if a person is really sorry, really apologetic. Are they gonna actually put in the effort to not make those mistakes again, to do wrong by me again? Try to see the best in people. Sometimes it could be to my own detriment. So moving into 2026, I just want to continue to carry that lesson forward and just not be so quick to just believe people's words, believe people off bat, and actually allow people the time to prove to me that what they're saying is what they mean through their actions. I won't say that I mastered it or anything, because I'm sure I haven't. I'm sure I haven't heard everything that I'm gonna hear that's gonna try and trick me. But I definitely am now. I feel like my ear is more fine-tuned to lies, kind of sweet talking me and just saying things that they think that I want to hear, saying things just to put a band-aid over a bullet wound, and just, move past the situation without actually being held accountable. And I think a lot of people need to tap into that, because we really sometimes I just be seeing things happen where they just saying them and we just believe in them. On the topic of words, I would say another thing too is that I kind of learned this lesson the year before, is that you have to listen to what people say the first time. Yeah, you gotta be skeptical of what people say, but at the same time, sometimes I think people kind of slip up and tell you what they actually mean. I think a lot about like situationships, and people who literally told me like off the bat, I'm not looking for nothing serious, and then me being shocked when they don't want something serious. It's about alignment, is what both of what you want aligns, not how can I convince this person to want what I want. That's not how it works. Another major lesson that I learned this year is that boundaries are there for a reason. Make boundaries to keep yourself safe, and there's no reason why you should go back on your boundaries for anyone. I'm sure that there are exceptions to that. I can't think of any right now, but I definitely learned that this year there were multiple instances where I enforced boundaries and I allowed other people to violate them, and I didn't realize that I need to be the one who's enforcing them. And then I also noticed that when I allowed that person to violate that boundary and I didn't enforce that boundary, that I've regretted it. This is the exact reason why I had this boundary up in the first place. Definitely moving into 2026, when I create a boundary, I want to enforce it, and I want to trust myself that I am creating that boundary for a reason, and not to second guess it, and not to make exceptions for people, especially when you're a person who doesn't put up boundaries often and kind of can let a lot of shit pass. You start finally advocating for yourself, that makes people mad because they can't take advantage of you anymore. When I put up those boundaries, and instead of getting a loving response of like, okay, like I understand why that doesn't make you comfortable, or even let me try and understand why that doesn't make you comfortable, or just simply, I'm gonna respect that because you're my friend and I want to make you comfortable. I got hate. I got challenged on it, I pushed back, and I got people just basically trying to convince me that their comfortability is more important than mine. Then I feel like, especially in romantic relationships, especially with guys, like, that don't be taking no for an answer. I feel like I got to see, when I put my boundaries up within my romantic relationships, just how selfish some people can be. And I got to see what people were really looking for. When I thought that people, really wanted a romantic connection with me, it was like, no, they just had ulterior motives. And some of them were actually really evil. And I had to deal with that this year. And luckily, by the grace of God, I overcame it. And the enemy's plans did not work. Another lesson I would say that I learned this year, trusting my inner voice. I noticed that definitely off the bat of meeting people, I made note of any people that I met years ago. I made notes about their character. I already had red flags up about this kind of energy that this person exudes. But again, my problem, benefit of the doubt, giving people so much grace, and also putting the weight of, I don't want to be another person who lets this person down. I don't want to be another person who abandons this person. Letting that weight and that guilt fall on my own shoulders didn't allow me to walk away from situations that were extremely harmful to me. I wish, instead of trying to be the good person, trying to be the nice person, that I instead was kind to myself. Listened to that inner voice, listened to the red flags, the alarm that was going off about some of these individuals. I would have saved myself a lot of heartache and a lot of tears, a lot of betrayal, and a lot of shit. It's when people reacted a certain way in certain situations, or said certain things, kept saying certain things, and instead of burying that voice, instead of not honoring that voice and trying to silence it, I wish that I just listened, didn't question it, didn't second guess it. And it's so much easier said than done. I feel like I found myself staying with that person, like dealing with that person, because I was waiting for proof to justify that voice. And that was my problem. Like, I would stay in situations and wait till things got really bad to then be like, okay, this is enough for me to walk away. When it was like, I actually didn't have to go through all of that. Waiting for evidence to, like, prove yourself right. Like, just being like, no, I don't feel good about this. And that's enough proof. What is meant for you won't miss you. If I were to let somebody go that was meant to be in my life or whatever, they're gonna find their way back to me. Second to last lesson, there is a difference between knowing better and doing better. And I think I knew that I deserved better in a lot of the relationships that I had, but at the same time, when those people started to do me wrong, I kept trying to force it to work. And I think I didn't really, I wasn't really ready to do better. Like, if I know that this relationship is not what I deserve, why do I keep trying to make it work? Especially as a Black woman, there's kind of this fear of, like, this is as good as it gets. And, kind of that scarcity mindset of, like, I'm not gonna find anyone else. And you would hope that this is not it, that this is not the ceiling. If you're not happy, if you're not getting treated right. Another thing that I'm trying to unlearn is, like, this struggle love. This is romantic and platonic. Relationships are only worth it if you work so hard and you fight, and you have to fight to make them work. What I really realized this year is, like, I don't want that, though. I want to have to struggle. I don't want to have to fight with somebody. No, I think that love, again, romantic and platonic, can be easy, can be soft. It doesn't have to be hard. So what I'm really trying to step into in 2026 is doing what it takes to actually, like, get what I deserve, like, getting the better that I deserve, like, creating space and opportunity for that to happen, to be able to welcome in more love. And I think that's just, like, such a powerful lesson to learn, especially on a journey of, like, self-love. I think self-love for a lot of us, I can speak for myself for sure, it's like this abstract kind of concept. Like, how do you love yourself? Like, what does that even mean? What does that even look like? I definitely am learning that one of those steps, a part of the process of loving yourself, is knowing that you deserve better and then creating the spaces and opportunities for you to accept, to receive the better that you deserve. How can you deserve better and you continue to stay in situations where you're, questioning your self-worth, where you're unhappy, you're miserable? Free will. We have free will. It exists. And like, I think on the same note of deserving better is that you don't have to stay in situations you don't want to be in. Like, if you don't want to be in situationships, why do you keep allowing yourself to stay in them? Like, let's actually remove the things that are not helping us live up to this idea that we have of what better is. Nobody is forcing us into these situations. Again, things are complicated. Like, I think about financial situations, sometimes that's not in your control. But as far as the things that are in your control, the things that you can change them. And then I will say my last lesson: healing can hurt. And I learned this lesson the hard way when I got injured. This June, I tore my ACL and my leg was messed up. I'm grateful for it though, because I feel like this journey of getting my leg back to 110% is very reflective of just healing a lot of different areas of my life, and it taking time, it not being an immediate result, it taking work. Having to do the physical therapy, you have to do exercises, you have to practice. What I'm talking about is like also healing your mind. Just evolve past stereotypes that once kept the stereotypes. Evolve past mindsets, ideologies, what is that? Thought patterns? I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say. Thinking that once kept us safe and brought us to where we are now, that no longer serve us and are kind of now starting to limit us and hold us back. Limiting beliefs. That's what it is. Like, when you are trying to do better, like get to that, I deserve better point, and like actually trying to act on it, you have to cut some people out. You have to do things differently, and that's uncomfortable when you are unfamiliar. It doesn't feel good at first, but as you keep doing it, you can see that you are better for it, and that there is a greater reward in healing. And then you get to look back on how far you've come, and you're so grateful that you are no longer that person that was once broken. It's necessary, but it's not easy. But just because it's not easy doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. And I definitely have seen some people this year take just like the easy road and not do the work that it takes to heal and do things differently because it was hard. And I think that that's lame. Because also at the end of the day, only you are going to know your story. Those are my biggest lessons for 2025, and a little bit about how I want to move into 2026. I am wishing any and everyone who tapped into this little bit of wisdom a very happy and blessed new year, and that all the flowers in your garden grow, and that you take my advice, apply some of these lessons to your own life, and that 2026 rewards you for it.